Are you ready? No! I said, are you ready?
Wrestling with a Bear podcast.
Our guest today, like Pun introduced when we opened the show, is Kim Artlip.
Watching wrestling in back 1969, February 1969. I saw Bruno Sammartino at a high school gym in New Martinsville, West Virginia. I started going to WWF shows up in Wheeling, West Virginia, Pittsburgh, Columbus, Ohio. So yeah, I grew up playing sports, watching wrestling, and every month my dad would take me to the little newspaper stand and I'd buy a wrestling magazine. I was hooked from like 5 on. I didn't want comic books. I wanted wrestling magazines.
Now,
So you had the blessing of being a wrestling fan during the good old days of the territories and the regionals.
Oh yeah, I'm a Hanson fan back in the day, and I would read about the Texas wrestlers and AWA and all that long before you could find them on television. And I'm so old I would use the rabbit ears on the TV with foil so I could watch the AWA shows because I picked them up on UHF channels.
Wow. That's see, I was born in the 90s, so I really came in during the Cablevision era, and so that was me. Now, in high school, was wrestling big? Like, when you were in high school, was wrestling a big thing? Because I know when I was in elementary school and middle school during the 90s, wrestling was everything. Was it the same way during during your years in high school?
Yeah. Well, see, I graduated in '82, so that was the TBS era. So Tommy Rich, the Koloffs, the Andersons going on. I even saw Hulk Hogan come down to a tournament on TBS as Sterling Golden get his ass handed to him. And it was great when he was just learning. But yeah, I got to live through all of the Andy Kaufman, Jerry Lawler feud, all that. I got to see all the classics.
You got to see
I
all
even
the
drank
good
a beer.
stuff.
I got to drink a beer with Jimmy Snuka once.
Oh,
So,
wow.
I mean,
Wow.
That's a story I'd like to hear about if you don't mind telling.
Yeah.
when they would do their shows in Wheeling, they would go. It was like a Holiday Inn Ramada. I forget what exactly it was, but it was right by the interstate ramp, so they could go on to Columbus or up to Pittsburgh, or go over toward Philly, and they would stay there. And so I was 18, 19 years old in college, went up there and drank with the Koloffs, drank with the Andersons. They were all up there, and you'd have the TBS guys come through, and then you have the WWF guys come through. So I mean, that was back in the day. I mean, seeing Bob Backlund as champ and shit, that's the kind of stuff I got to see growing up.
Oh man, that must have been so awesome. So, what music were you into growing up? Were you like all around into like everything, or were you like a metalhead? Were you a rocker? What were you into?
I have
70s, 80s, I'm going to guess. She was into the rock phase.
I was into rock, man, hair bands. I was into the hair bands. Night Ranger and Twisted Sister and Metallica and all the great ones. If they had hair and they sang, man. But I liked Queen, so
Queen
it
is
was
one
it was a
of my
very
favorite
odd
bands, Queen.
Whitney Houston, Madonna, all that. I mean, I was in high school when the Wendy Richter had her big thing with Cyndi Lauper and Captain Piano. So, that's when I wanted to be a wrestler. That's what got me going.
Now, you would obviously go on to become an author, but what books really interested you growing up or as an adult? What books were that influenced you?
I like murder mysteries. I like science fiction. I like romance. I read a lot of different stuff. I read a lot of Gary Vee. I don't have any one genre that I read. I don't really like Stephen King, though. It creeps and scares the crap out of me. But I love The Stand. But I can't read his books. I have nightmares.
Now, if you had to pick 3 books to any of our listeners to to read, what 3 books off the top of your head right now would you give them?
The Percy Jackson series. I've read a lot of all the Harry Potter books because I like that science fiction stuff, and the J.D. Robb murder mysteries. They're Nora Roberts, but she writes as J.D. Robb and her futuristic murder mysteries. She's a cop in the future, she's solving all these bizarre murders.
Got you. Now, what was the process of actually becoming a published author?
I started writing books back in the 90s. I wrote a lot of satire books. I was, back in the mid-90s, I was a special education advocate, and I was dealing with the school system a lot, and I wrote some very sarcastic graphic comics about, in fairy tale format, about the school system, which did not help very much. I don't think they appreciated that very much, but no, I wrote a lot of that. I wrote a lot of self-help books back then, to help parents. And then a little older, I started when I started Ignite. That's funny. Right before Ignite, I wrote books about how to work from home, how to be an entrepreneur, and then I wrote books about my journey into wrestling.
Interesting.
When you mentioned you were a special ed advocate, that really caught my attention because I was a special ed kid, when I was, in grade school, being content mastery, the special ed program. So it's really something misunderstood, us kids like that, requiring, it's not that we want it, we require these special ed. People just don't understand the struggles and the pain that we go through. So you being an advocate, exactly, how did you stand up for it? Did you advocate that more help is needed? How exactly did that experience work out for you?
My son, I have a son that's 38. My son was not diagnosed correctly by the school system. They wanted to fail him even though he had passed. He had ADHD and learning disabilities.
That happened to me too, so sorry, I got a little emotional. That did happen to me too.
So I got with this wonderful organization called West Virginia Parent Training Information Center. And they taught me the process, taught me what my son's rights were, and I was such a dick about it, and got so many violations on the school system that I was asked to come on board and teach other parents the process and their rights and how to advocate for their own children. And I did that for 7 years. I was even part of the congressional subcommittees that testified when they reauthorized the Individuals with Disabilities Education Act in 92, or not 92, but 98, or 96. Yeah, 96, 98. But I was involved in that, and you talked about my son's journey and the struggles that we had just trying to get basic services, and how they would abuse children, especially children with attention deficit disorder and learning disabilities. And I was so tired of them, the way teachers treated us. I had a teacher grab me and shake me and leave bloody welts on my arms with her fingernails, telling me that she was going to break my son. And I said, my son isn't broken. My son is not broken. My son needs to learn the way that he needs to learn, not the way you want to teach it for the last 30 years. And I ended up getting her retired.
God bless you, Kim, because I was in a French international school because I'm French American. I was born in France, and I was emotionally abused, verbally abused by a teacher. Of course, they'll deny it. Bullying was not only tolerated, but I swear to you, on my grandfather's grave, it was encouraged. I remember one of the teachers, the most cruel of them all, telling the kids, make fun of Alex. He's stupid. He won't fight back. And to this day, I swear to you, they'll just say, it's not true. Alex is just desperate for attention. And I will get to their face and say, lie all you want, but one day your judgment day's coming, you're not going to hide from it.
Oh wow.
When my son
I
couldn't do
swear
math,
to you, I'm not exaggerating. It's the God's honest truth. Teachers were cruel to
I
me.
believe you. When my son couldn't do math, he had a math disability and a written language disability. When he couldn't do math, they would line the kids up, have them go walk past his desk, and tell him what they thought about them all losing recess because he couldn't do a math problem. They alienated him. He was in 5th grade trying to kill himself.
God damn it.
And and the teachers felt justified and everything. And I really don't want to talk much more about this because
I don't blame you.
It hits home.
It's
Yeah.
still
It's making me cry because it brings back painful memories on my end too. But sometimes these experiences, because me being a kid, the way I was a difficult child. Now I live in regret how I was to my parents. But some people say, well, you were a kid. Like some of the kids would tell me to have my back after they understood. Well, Alex, like that, and they say you were a kid, Alex. But still, sometimes as a grown up, you kind of regret how you were as a kid, even though it's you were a kid. But yeah, I don't blame you for not wanting to talk about this. It's painful.
I debated doing it when I came to Florida because my contract was, I had the ability to shift to Florida, but I'm not bilingual. I mean, I'm from West Virginia. I barely speak English, And and I say that jokingly, but
Maybe we're from New York. In New York we can.
I'm from Texas.
I grew up where we had no accents, and we had our southern. I have a little southern accent, but I was up near Pittsburgh. I was never around Hispanics. I was never around anybody with any type of accent. And when I moved to Florida, it was a massive adjustment just with the names of the cities. It took me forever to be able to say Okeechobee. Hialeah, because we didn't have, a Narcoossee and all these words. We didn't have that, and we didn't have different nationalities. They were very generic names, and there was no ethnicity up there really, and especially nobody from another country. And I think for the first year I was down here, people thought I had a hearing impairment because I had to have people keep repeating stuff because I just wasn't used to the accents at first.
It's tough. I mean, here, even in Texas, we have numerous accents.
Oh yeah. Well,
I mean, we say y'all everywhere, but and sometimes we don't say the full city. Instead of San Antonio, a lot of us will say just San Antone. We'll say San Antone. Or we'll say Corpus instead of Corpus Christi.
Well, you had mentioned that you grew up a wrestling fan, and you had told us some of your favorite wrestlers. What are some of your favorite matches and moments, or what was the moment that made you realize that you wanted to get into business somehow?
Stan Hansen, Bruno Sammartino, 1976, in Madison Square Garden when he broke his neck. And I realized that this was not play acting. That this was insane. That was one of the matches. And I can't remember Superfly Snuka and somebody. I just remember him coming off a cage. And I wanted to do that so bad.
It was Don Morocco.
Yes, that's Magnificent Morocco. Yes. I mean, seeing that stuff back then, I can remember being a little kid and them supposedly doing this big injury on I want to say it was Chief Jay Strongbow, and he had a bandage on his nose, and then the following week the bandage was gone, his nose was fine, and I was just like, man, these guys are superhuman. But I didn't get kayfabe. I was like eight years old. But I grew up watching it, at my grandmother's usually, and I had a little 5 foot tall grandmother that you couldn't sit near because she was so excited. Fists and feet were going, and she'd have you in a headlock going like this.
That's Pun's mom. That's
I mean, there are certain people you can't sit near at a wrestling event. We took her one time. We got her one time to go to a show. Haystacks Calhoun, who was 500 and some pounds
one of the
at
largest
the time.
wrestlers in the world.
He went to bounce off. He was one of the 5 largest wrestlers in the world. He went to lean to bounce off the ring rope, and it broke, and he almost fell on her. And she wouldn't go back because she said, all I saw was a butt coming at me. She would never go back, but she had the best time. we had more fun holding her down to keep her, because she was going to go in the ring. She had the chair and everything. She was ready to go.
My mother believed man got blown up in that limo until he showed up on Raw when Chris Benoit did what he did. My mom believed he did all that time that Vince McMahon was really dead and got blown up in that limo until he showed up. I thought he was dead. Oh my God! I can't believe it. John, how is Vince McMahon still alive? And, my mom is in her early 70s, and to this day, she believes wholeheartedly what she sees on that TV screen.
I wish we had fans like that still, bro. I really do.
We do. I've spoken to them. I know a fan.
Well, they're definitely not in New York. I'll tell you that. They're definitely not in New York, because you got to kill yourself to get over.
That fan I know was in New York. He was in New York when Bob Backlund lost the title to the Iron Sheik. He believed the Iron Sheik, the foreign heel, was actually, that way. He actually legitimately injured Backlund and took the title. I mean, his dad was there when Bruno Sammartino lost the title to Ivan Koloff. He thought the Russian bad guy beat the superhero.
It was so easy back then, man. It was just so easy. So we're gonna be playing a little game with you later. Name that tune. The pro wrestling edition. You had mentioned to us before we got on that you don't really listen to wrestling, commentary and the music or anything. But as a kid or as a teenager, were there any memorable wrestling themes that just stuck out to you?
Undertaker. Absolutely. Yeah. You heard that noise, man. You knew he was coming.
Yes, that is one of the best, most iconic edges.
You know what's funny is I talk to people, right? I talk to people from all different ages, like that haven't watched wrestling. They're like, I haven't watched it in 20 years. I haven't watched it in 10 years. But no matter how old they are, no matter what the age gap is, they always talk about Undertaker. They don't remember matches. Yep. They won't tell you other wrestlers. They'll be like Undertaker and his entrance. And that just tells you, like, how big, Undertaker probably could have been the shits in the ring. But as long as he had that entrance, he was going to be remembered. In
the early 90s, he wasn't the greatest yet. He wasn't the greatest yet in the early 90s.
Well, look at the opponents he had.
It was really that look that us to him. That pale look, that long, dark reddish hair, the eyes rolling back. He was a little sloppy with his tombstone and his chokeslam. Yeah. So, I mean, he wasn't that attractive until later on. But that entrance and Brother Love and Paul Bearer back then, they helped make that gimmick last until he wasn't green anymore.
Yeah. Yeah, 100%.
Well, the other one I'd have to say that always popped me, and mainly because it was just ridiculous, was the Bushwhackers.
I was so close to putting that. I was so close to putting that in the game. I didn't give you that one. I picked it from back in the day.
Crap.
Oh my God.
I used to love the Bushwhackers as a kid.
You'd probably play it and I'd be like, that is so familiar, but I just can't get it.
Now I'm gonna switch over and let Pun get some action in here, because I know as we start talking about you being in the business, this is something Pun's really interested in, because it's always been Pun's dream, Pun's goal to be a promoter, be a booker, run a company. So he's gonna have some questions for you. Pun, take it away.
So I want to know, how long have you been a promoter? When did you get into it, and how did you get into it?
I've been a promoter 6 years this past January. Oh, okay. I got the idea, honest to God, from a mud show that we were at. And I'll say that nicely. I'm not supposed to call him that. It was a really bad show, and I looked at my husband. This was 2015. And I said, I could do better than this. So he's like, okay. And you got to understand my husband. He's actually outside the room. He just came home from work. But it was like, if you want to do it, okay. So honestly, I tell you who was very instrumental in me becoming a promoter was Lindsay Dorado.
Okay.
Oh, wow.
I actually was in Orlando doing something else. I actually went to Lindsay's house. Took my little notepad, and Lindsay told me everything that I needed to do, what I didn't do, what worked, what didn't work. And I probably took about half of that, maybe a quarter. And everybody was telling me what to do and how to do it. And I ended up doing a lot of the things that Lindsay said that people weren't doing right. And I took that to heart. And I kind of did the opposite of what every vet told me to do, except for Lindsay. Because everybody had an idea. Everybody was like, well, and I, honest to God, had this dude, another company was going to work with me. I won't say their name. Fuck them. I'm not giving them any PR. But they had a friend that was going to be the book. They told him, well, he'll book and you'll do this. I said, what am I going to do? Well, you can sell tickets at the door. And I thought, wait a second. I own the company. I'm paying for it. I'm promoting it. And someone else is going to run it. Well, you can sell tickets at the door, work in the concession stand. And I went,
oh my God.
I went ahead and booked the show and did everything. And the guy calls me up and he's like, why are you booking these people? I'm the booker. And I said, who made you the booker? It's my company. And he was like, we had this discussion. I said, who's we? I'm looking at it. Nope. The OLC only has my name on it. I don't see your name on it. I don't see anybody else's name on it.
Oh my God. It's
Wow.
like issues are everywhere, man. Issues are like
Or the wrestling.
It is.
Before starting promoting and starting Ignite Wrestling, did you have thoughts of being a performer? Did you?
Oh, back in the 80s. Yeah, back in the 80s. I'm 58 years old now. There was no way at 52 this ass was going in spandex. It wasn't happening. And it was funny because I was at an event today, and I went to a networking event, and I have a knee brace because I'm going to eventually have to have my knee replaced probably. And I'm in the knee brace, and they said, what happened? I said, I was training for the show, and I hurt myself. And this woman believed me, and I thought, no, there ain't no way I'm going to. I wanted to. I would love, I can't pull myself into the ring. Because everybody's like, oh, jump in the ring. I was like, well, get some stairs. Like, yeah, when you roll into the ring, we'll let you in your own ring. I'm like, yes.
Get a mini 3-step escalator.
I have a chair, but with my knee, I can't push with my knee to get into the ring. So I'm not allowed in the ring. The guys don't want me to hurt myself. They're very good about that.
So when you first started Ignite, was it easy for you to get talent to work for you, or?
Oh, yeah.
All right.
Really?
It wasn't as hard as people thought because I knew people. Before I did Ignite, I was actually doing merch. I had a company called Wrestle Swag, and I was publishing a newspaper and doing merchandise for the LWO, for Lindsay, for Desmond Xavier, some one-off stuff for a bunch of guys. So, making the transition over wasn't that hard. I had a couple people that still to this day don't work for me, because we would go, when we were setting it up and coming into the show, and the first couple shows, my husband and I would go somewhere, and they would start talking to my husband, and he'd be like, it's her company. And so, and when I tried to talk to one of the guys, and to this day he still says that I don't like him. Every time I tried to talk to him, he ignored me, or he'd walk away while I was talking, and I'd never booked him because he just never showed me any respect.
Oh, yeah, that's it.
That's a big part of wrestling. You got to have a good work ethic.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, it's funny because he's like, well, I think she doesn't book me because she doesn't like homosexuals. And I was like, dude, have you looked at my roster?
Wow.
I got pansexuals, bisexuals, transsexuals. You name it, I've got it. But no, it honestly, that doesn't matter to me at all. I don't care. I don't care if you're purple and you talking Chinese in my show. Just be respectful to the fans. Be respectful to me, and be respectful in the locker room. Yeah. That's the only thing you got to do.
Make sure you shake enough hands.
I don't shake hands.
Oh,
I don't shake hands. I have little hands, and they squish my hands when they shake my hands.
When me and Pun were tag teaming, we did a show in Connecticut, and they put us against each other, even though we're a tag team. So it was like a tournament thing. So I was supposed to go over and come back the next week and continue in the tournament. Well, we're like in the match, and we're like just started doing shit in the match, and they go call for them to go home. So the ref tells us, "Yo, you guys got to go home," and we're like, "Bro, we just got into heat. Like he was just getting his heat on me," and I'm like, "All right, cool." So we wound up working a spot, and that makes sense to get us to go home. We do it, and come to find out, the reason they're not bringing any of us back is because we didn't shake enough hands.
Believe it.
And I remember shaking.
I remember
damn near-
we got there last. It was a last minute. I did it. We were doing it as a favor to
Yep.
somebody.
We drove out
So
last
we were
minute,
coming
but we
out
got
there
there.
like on last minute.
here.
I believe we shook everybody's hand. I don't know. I remember being in the middle of getting dressed, and I'm just shaking hands. Like,
I mean, I can always tell the young guys, and it's always funny because the young guys and the ones that are riding in the car, because they're always hi, I'm so hi, and they're going through the locker. And it's yeah, and I mean they're very respectful, but you know it kind of depends on who you work with. I'll tell you, the guys that come out of Tennessee, Jaden Newman's students. The Good Sisters, Sage Phillips, that whole crew, Carson Dillback and Baby Dragon, Aaron Wade, no something, but that is the most respectful crew you'll ever work with. Ma'am, everything's ma'am, and the Carolina boys, everything's ma'am. And I keep telling them, if they keep calling me ma'am and Miss Kim, I'm gonna tell them that every time they say call me Miss Kim, I'm gonna picture me as a dominatrix. I'll break you doing that.
That's a good
That
one.
is hilarious. That is funny. That is funny. All right. So now that you've been, running Ignite for the past 6 years, do you have a top 5 Ignite wrestling matches?
My top 5, Ray Fury, Serpentico. That's my favorite lucha match. My funniest match was actually, we had a guy that wrestles as Coach Gym Teacher and Aaron Nova, and they had a volleyball match at the beginning. Came out and they played dodgeball, and they did the 1, 2, 3 dodgeball and had a dodgeball segment.
Oh man, I'm a big fan of the comedy.
And of course the commentary team is the young professor and Styx, and they're just having a grand old time with the 5 Ds of dodgeball.
Dodge and dodge.
Dive and dodge. But they were having a blast. We had a triple threat that was I'm trying to think who was in that triple threat. It was Beastly, Timmy Lou Retton, and the Thrill Seeker, Justin Black, who Blanco Loco without a mask. And that was probably one of the best triple threats that we've had. And then we had a really good match with let's see, I'm gonna think tag match. We had a 4-way tag match, and it was that classic tag team.
All right.
It was our tech, TC Reed and Mike Monroe, who were our champions, Marquise Carter and Mikey Spandex, Task Force, and Mikey Spandex is now a WWE NXT ref.
Okay.
And then we had Beast and Beastly and Ozzy Killmeister, and it was one of those roll up at the last minute kind of deals. And we had a new tag champ, but the ending was one of the best endings we've ever had. And then my other favorite was we had a lucha rules match. Lindsay Dorado, John Cruz, Jay Rios, and Mr. 450 Mecha Wolf.
I remember seeing that match advertised. I remember seeing.
And they had a kiss party. At one point, they got to arguing, and one of them kissed the other. They kissed a ref. They kissed Speedy Ruiz, the photographer. And every Valentine's Day, I play that video. The kiss part. Kiss the one you love. And then we had a fantastic match. We had Red Velvet and Diamante back in 2016 when it just had started wrestling. And that's pretty much my 5 right now.
That's awesome. That's awesome. All right, Bear Man. I know you wanted to talk to Kim about her podcasting.
Absolutely.
So, and let the title be lifted off the
Well, aside from this show, I've got 4. It's brutal, obviously, but I'd like to get your thoughts, and I'd like to know, when did you start podcasting?
I started, actually I had a talk radio show in 2015, 2016. I was on iHeart, and we live streamed. Then we went to YouTube for a while. It was called The Wrestle Talk. And I took a break, and now I'm back, and I'm actually doing the Woman on Fire podcast, which is me. We're doing Ignite Full Access, which is me and anybody that's ever been at Ignite. And then I have one for our, because we have a food website, Ignite Eats. And then I have a recipe of the day where I do one recipe a day, and sometimes I TikTok those. But it's kind of fun. I want to do more podcasting, and I have a platform that I like, and that I can do the video, and I have a great audio platform. But it took me 3 years to find a platform that I liked. For me, that's super easy, because OBS and me hated each other. I could not use OBS.
Yeah, I have a love-hate relationship with OBS.
Yeah, I hate relationship.
OBS can certainly sometimes be a big pain in the butt, but what was in the art of podcasting?
I got into podcasting because I got into talk radio. I actually started my original talk radio show was community. It was like community good events and feel good stories and stuff. And I and it turned into wrestling. I just didn't see women in podcasting and wrestling. And if they were, it was just an interview, but there was nobody asking the questions. It was a woman. And if they did, it was never anything like in depth. It was kind of fluffy pieces. And I just wanted to get out there, especially when I talk about podcasting. When I talk on my own podcast, is talking about stuff that I struggle with, and and things that people might not be thinking about, and organization and tech and software and stuff, because people don't realize I've done a lot of things other than this, and I have a lot of background and a lot of coaching, and I was a project account manager for one of the biggest tech platforms of its kind in the world, so I know a little bit about technology, more than most people realize.
And what has been, like, obviously being a podcaster comes with a lot of struggles. I mean, I know that from experience. I mean, it's affecting me today, but what are the struggles in podcasting in your case?
Honest to God, my biggest struggle was finding guests that would show up on time.
Wow.
And everybody wants to be on a podcast, but I see people saying, "Oh, I'd love to do a podcast," and then, okay, here's the link, here's my calendar, pick your time, and then crickets, nothing. You don't hear from them. And then you see them like 2 weeks later going, "I'd like to be on a podcast."
Believe me, that has happened so many times. I mean, I've even been criticized myself for working through a schedule. But I'm a journalist. If we put deadlines, we meet our deadlines. That's part of our etiquette in being in journalism. And people don't take that seriously. That's why all these podcasters, they'll do an episode, and then 3 months, there's nothing, and then they wonder why they failed, because you're not committed to it. But
that's kind of why when I did Access, I thought, well, you know what? I'll just do the Ignite people, because that's 192 people. If 192 people have worked for me and you won't come on my podcast, I'm going to hurt somebody. I'm just not like throwing it out there, go, anybody come in. Like, y'all know me, come on my podcast. And so far, I mean, I've had Phil Stamper, I've had Jaden Newman, I've had Princess Deathwish, and I just recorded Tuesday with Eliza Hayes, which is actually airing right after this podcast.
Oh.
I actually know Philip Stamper. I actually spoke to him at a Pele Pro Wrestling show actually last summer.
Philip Stamper's he's like a guru in like indie wrestling, man. Like he knows everybody. He knows every show that's going down.
Forgot more than most people know. The guy's amazing.
He
does the wrestling calendar and does all the seminar stuff. He's great. And we were like, it was funny because we'd always been Facebook friends. I didn't meet him until I booked him to come down and be a ring announcer last year, and talked and I see him doing his Facebooks and lives and everything, and we just kind of like just started talking like we'd always talked. It was just like, oh, now we're in front of each other finally.
That's it.
Kim, in your experience, do you prefer being the host or the guest in podcasts?
I like being the guest because I can say F words a lot more. No.
And why don't you tell us a little bit about your podcast?
Ignite Full Access is basically I take you behind the scenes. We talk to the wrestlers. Are they a Marvel fan? Or are they a DC fan? What kind of music do they listen to? How did they grow up? What do they do that people don't know? Some of the stuff some of these wrestlers has done outside on their shoot jobs is just absolutely fascinating to me. Because I'm finding out people were trained to do CSI work and stuff. I never knew any of that stuff. But, I don't get to really know the wrestlers because I'm down here in Vero Beach and there's no wrestlers. The closest wrestler to me is 45 minutes away, but we're not hanging out or doing anything. People just show up every 4 months and do a show. We're together for 5 hours and then I don't see them again. Until
wow.
But it's cool for me to get to know people and to show people, let people see, what they don't know about their favorite wrestler.
Yeah. Yes. Yeah.
Awesome. All right.
Now, I do have a question when it comes to the podcast. Because I feel like the reason why we started this podcast is because it's a different view. A lot of podcasts are more of the fan point of view, and like you with the Ignite podcast, I like to give my experience as a wrestler. Originally, it was just me and Bearman doing it, and he's as a sports journalist, and then you have a wrestler's perspective, so it brings a different view on it, that different spin on it, and I like the idea of that. You said you're willing to pull back the curtain a bit. Because not a lot of promoters or bookers would want to do that.
People know it's not real. And I actually had a conversation with somebody yesterday, and they were trying to tell me that we're a sport and there's certain things and blah, blah. And I'm like, we are staged, choreographed, theatrical, and they are trained athletes, but it's predetermined. And they're like, since when? It's always been that way. But it's nice to get to talk to people and do things differently, and because I have a different perspective on everything, and like the bear over here, he's a journalist. We do a magazine, so I'm very structured. I'm huge into technology. I'm huge into ClickUp. I do all of our video and graphic and editing and writing and everything. So my approach as a promoter is different than the guy that used to be a wrestler and never won a belt and started a company,
Gotcha. Well, we're going to take a quick commercial break here. And when we get back, we're going to have Pun play Name That Tune, the Pro Wrestling Edition. Oh. Ladies and gentlemen, let's see if we can stump Kim here. I have a feeling we are going to. So stay tuned. Wrestling with a Bear. We'll be right back.
Did you know you can purchase official Wrestling with a Bear merchandise exclusively at whanamaneuver.net? Just open your web browser and visit whanamaneuver.net. Click the menu icon and select Shop by Store. Scroll down to select Wrestling with a Bear. There, you'll find our Lucha Bear and the Whole Truth designs available for t-shirts, long sleeves, tanks, hoodies, and more in sizes extra small through 4XL. What a Maneuver uses high-quality apparel at affordable prices, guaranteed to be the softest shirts in your collection. What are you waiting for? Visit whatamaneuver.net and support Wrestling with a Bear.
All right, we are back from that break, and it is time for Kim to play Name That Tune Wrestling Edition. Now, she did tell us earlier in this podcast that when she grew up watching wrestling, it was muted. So this might be more interesting than I thought. It might be a little harder for her than I thought. But let's go with the first one. You know, the first one it was up in 1980s. You know, mid 80s superstar, early 90s, I would say.
What was that?
Oh, okay.
I have no idea what that is.
Rex has an idea.
I think
I know who it is.
I know who
it is.
That is the model Rick Martel, Steve.
Okay.
I
I was.
saw Alex's face. I thought Bear Man knew who it was.
At first,
I knew
I'm
it
thinking,
was.
I'm like, this sounds kind of magical. Who is this?
Yes.
I know it was somebody sexy, but I couldn't think of who it was.
Yeah,
We
Eric
could have gave a half a
too.
point for her saying someone sexy. It was.
Arrogant.
There we go.
Taking that half point.
Y'all remember the segment? It was on the Brother Love show with Jake the Snake Roberts, where Martel kayfabe blinded him, and that led to a blindfold match?
Yeah. You know what? That was good
Yeah.
storytelling. Yeah.
All right, so
Brother Love.
We're going to go to number 2. All right, this gentleman was wrestling around the same time as Rick Martel.
I don't hear nothing, bud.
I'm not hearing
You
anything.
don't hear?
No. Yeah, it's like really, really low. I don't hear it either.
All right. It's just a bunch of screaming. It's Kamala.
Well, I don't know why was it so low.
I don't
Just
know.
sounded like a cat
I don't know why
screeching.
that-
Yeah,
That's what
I
it was.
all I was hearing was a screechy sound.
That's all it
I mean, it's
was.
not just screaming. There's also some sort of tribal music I would play too.
Yeah.
All right, what do we have next,
all
Pun?
right.
What's this? I can't really hear it.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
low.
Yeah, this PC is. Let me do it this. Can you hear it better like this? I'm gonna come off of the camera for now.
Yeah, that's much louder.
Okay.
Oh yeah, I know who that is. Kim might not
One of
get
my
that.
favorite tag teams from back then, that was the Rockers, Shawn Michaels and Marty Jannetty.
It just sounded like little tin music. I couldn't really hear it.
Okay. All right, let's go to this one. You don't know this one?
She's thinking.
Shit. I know that, but I can't think of the name. I want to say it's not Tyler Breeze. It's a girl, but I. Come on,
Trying to help you look.
Bailey.
There you go.
Hey.
There you go.
It's Bailey. When she
Yeah.
had the balloons. That was Bailey when she had the balloons. All right, this one you're gonna get. There's no way you're not gonna get this one.
Oh.
Play that again.
It's a tag team, but their manager used it also by himself.
No.
Billy and Chuck. When Billy and Gunn and Chuck Palumbo were a tag team, they did the gay brother tag team, and they almost got married on Raw.
I wasn't watching during that period.
Oh wow!
Apparently.
No.
I must not have been
Wow.
watching. Man,
Wasn't
because
the wedding interrupted by the debut of 3 Minute
Yes.
Warning?
It was.
Yes. Yep.
no, I don't remember that.
Rosie and Jamal.
All right, she's got to get the next
Oh,
one,
okay.
Pun. She's got to get the next one. That gave it away right there.
I couldn't hear what it said.
Bearman. You.
I know who it is.
That's Rusev.
Okay.
Guy that, well, it was all going for him, and then all
I
went down.
thought. I don't know why Vince didn't make him into a superstar. He should have been a superstar in WWE.
I agree, but it's like Chris says, Vince is not gonna please everybody, right?
Yep.
You can't please
Yep.
everybody.
But yeah, Rusev, just another one of the long list of underutilized talent that could have been something if only they had just,
Gotten a push.
if they had taken that chance. I was actually doing research. Him doing the Russian sympathizer giving that got him legitimate heat in his homeland of Bulgaria. People didn't understand why. I think it's because Bulgaria was part of the Soviet Union. I believe that's probably why, or maybe I don't know. Maybe they just didn't like him being a sympathizer from another country. I mean, there's a lot of reasons, but yeah, the Russian sympathizer character got him legit heat in Bulgaria.
Wow. I didn't know that.
I mean, it's probably exaggerated. It was. It's not like it's not like I don't think Dave. It's not like Dave Meltzer said it. I mean, maybe it's an exaggeration. I mean, yeah. If Dave Meltzer or any of those top sports websites or wrestling websites are not the source, it's more than likely probably just an exaggeration or just something not true.
All right, Pun. What other songs do we have for Kim?
We got three more, Kim. This next
All
one
right.
is going to WCW during the Monday Night War days.
Oh, this.
Oh.
I just want to go dancing and just.
Disco Inferno?
Yeah!
Yes.
I gotta add a little bell sound bite. So when people get it right, we could just put off a little bell.
Yes, that is awesome.
All right.
I never watched WCW.
But the only person to come out to a disco type song.
Yeah.
All right. So
2 more.
this one, I think you should get this one.
There's 2 right answers to this.
There
There
is
is,
two
yeah.
right answers to that.
I mean, you guys stop talking so I can hear it. And you gotta. Or let's say The Godfather, but I know it's not The Godfather.
That is actually Brodus Clay. I don't know. This one is a 2000s theme. 2000.
Not sure.
That is the masterpiece, Chris Masters, doing all his poses.
Okay.
I thought he was going to be a superstar also. Well, you did get 3 also, just like Jeremy did last week.
Oh shit, man! I needed 4.
All
Did I get a half point somewhere? So I got 3.5.
Yeah, you got 3, yeah. You got the half.
Here we go. She won by a
My
half.
I'm taking my half.
I'll set my tripod back up.
uh,
I'm gonna change the way I do this so it's louder next week.
yeah.
And I got it. I know what I'm gonna do.
All right. So now, Kim, here's your chance. Your cheap plug. You can plug anything you want. Anything you've got coming up. Anything going on with your podcast, your books, cooking.
Everything. Plug it all. Let us know what you're doing, where you're gonna be.
We are back at Walking Tree Brewery May 21st at noon, and it is a women's title tournament. We have an intergender match. We've got Mr. Grimm defending his title against Leon Ravage, who was injured back in September. You can always catch us on all of our favorite platforms. We're at Ignite Wrestling on Independent Wrestling TV, Title Match, Roku, Fire TV, and of course our YouTube channel. Check out the Ignite Full Access Podcast. It is on all. It is on Twitch. It is on YouTube, and it is on all streaming podcast platforms. And don't forget to check out Ignite Eats. Hot sauce, popcorn seasonings, dry rubs, chili seasonings, and this morning at 4:30, pizza seasoning.
Awesome.
So,
Awesome.
and we also have our own jewelry line, Ignite Your Style. So yeah, I'm a very bored person, and check out Zinio, where when you search for wrestling magazines, you will find Ignite Wrestling right beside Pro Wrestling Illustrated.
Awesome.
That is
Awesome.
Your own jewelry line? That is awesome.
Outstanding.
Oh, there we go.
That
And we
is-
got, look at that. We got a sneak peek at it. Look at that.
No, hell yeah, that's awesome.
There's also bracelets. They're actually back behind me on the wall.
Now that popcorn seasoning, I would like some of that.
Eight flavors of popcorn seasoning: Cajun, barbecue, salty caramel. There's garlic parm, Italian parm, Parmesan herb, hot chocolate,
Oh,
and
that's,
I'm forgetting one of them, and dill pickle.
Oh.
Mm-hmm. It looks like we're gonna be ordering from Ignite Eats. So
Hey, we have an Etsy shop.
I know I will be.
You can find us on Etsy. We've got 4 different dry rubs. We've got more coming. Seafood seasonings. We've got a whole bunch of more products coming because we can't always do wrestling. And we just launched our brand new, and I have one. Our brand new 2022 trading cards just came out this past week. And as a special thank you to everyone, we have opened up the vault, and we have every trading card series that we've ever done now available in limited numbers. From 2016, 2018, 2019, 2020, 21, our classics, and our new 2022s.
oh wow, Ignite Wrestling
I
very
already-
busy, very busy.
I'm already on IgniteEats.com.
He's already on it.
just so you, I am already on IgniteEats.com. Just so you know.
Yeah, I'm probably gonna be
Ooh, 19
ordering.
And I do a lot of retro recipes, so it's some weird recipes you may have forgot about, because I like to eat. But and we also have our own. I'll reach behind and fall out of the chair, and we have our own for the 4th straight year, garlic habanero hot sauce.
Garlic habanero hot sauce.
Yes.
Oh.
I am a fat guy in a skinny guy's
Yes.
body.
Yes.
Both. Me and Chris both. We should be 400 pounds. the way we eat, the things we love to eat. Oh man.
I like to cook relax, so it was like a natural progression for me. And because we had the hot sauce, I was like, I did a dry rub about 3 years ago, and nobody paid attention to it. And I'm like, I'm going to bring it back. And then I was like, well, I'm going to build a website, and then I'm going to end up doing a podcast about it, and then I'm going to do a TikTok about it. So it just kind of went from there. This is what happens when you give people technology.
Yeah. Yeah. I feel you on that, because you could ask upon when we lived together. Like, I had an idea, okay, now what am I going to do next? And then it was always doing something like, always keeping yourself busy and keeping yourself, I guess, for me, it was distracted from the world, you know. It's, okay, how can I just focus on improving, making things, you know, improving on my ideas and making them come to life.
Wow.
Pizza seasonings, taco seasonings.
Taco seasoning.
All right.
I'm looking at the Eternal hot sauce.
Chili.
That's what I'm looking at now. Like.
And our dry rubs are like 4-ounce cans. They're like half cup dry rub cans in tins that we do.
Everything available. This is just so cool.
Oh yeah. Oh, my brother wants to throw a barbecue for his birthday this year. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. I think
I want.
You got your
I'm gonna
sauce
hook it
now,
up.
Chris.
I'm gonna hook it up with some Ignite Eats, man.
You know me. I love to be at the grill, so I want to throw like 3 to 5 barbecues this summer.
Well, because
One of them being on 4th of July.
I was making a joke, and somebody said, "What's the weirdest thing that you sell?" And I said, "Welcome mats." And they said, "What?" I actually do welcome mats that say wrestling, watching wrestling come back later.
I like that.
Hey, if you need an idea for another one, unless you want to talk about pro wrestling, go away.
Don't touch my nuts. I like that shirt.
Yeah. And plus we have our shirt,
Everybody
and I didn't
needs
even,
a good
we have
run.
our shirts that people don't even realize. We have, if you go on our shopignitewrestling.com, we have 22 different shirt designs. They're not all Ignite Wrestling. A lot of them are like indie wrestling, indie themed. Indie wrestling is cheaper than therapy.
That's I like that.
It's probably one of our biggest. Oh yeah, I mean, where else can I go and have a double shot of Jack and scream at a perfect stranger in her underpants? You know, wrestling.
I love that. I love that. This has been awesome talking to you, Kim, and getting to know you better. I've been following you on Twitter for a bit, and I've been friends with you on Facebook for a while, and as a talent, you know, I would love to come down and work for Infinite Pro Wrestling. We've talked about that, and when we can make that happen, I'd love to wrestle, you know, and work for Infinite, and maybe get in on some of these recipes.
I don't do Infinite Wrestling, so you're saying Infinite Wrestling.
Oh,
so,
I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Ignite Wrestling. I am so sorry.
Sorry. Not gonna happen now.
The excitement is so overwhelming, isn't it?
That's it.
Yeah, right. We're live, people. But no,
It was a lot.
it's been great getting to know how you started the company and getting to know about your life before wrestling and growing up a wrestling fan. You are our third guest ever on the podcast, and I want to thank you for your time and being open and honest with us and just shooting the shit with us.
Absolutely loved it.
Well,
I just never want to play that game again.
Well, off camera now, you get to pick a song for next week. Well, who's gonna play? Oh, we're playing. Me and Bearman are playing next week. Okay,
It's gonna be a Rex.
Pun, you have to hit her up on Facebook and get that song from.
Yeah.
I got the song. What do you guess? I got the song.
And Bearman is pretty confident that he's gonna win without a doubt next week.
damn right I will.
So
I don't know about me, man. I don't.
He's down there trying to
I don't
help
know
me in the corner, and I'm looking like, what the hell does this mean?
Oh,
Master Lock.
oh, Master
Hold my
Lock.
hand.